Now let's get to some quick hitters before I get to your tweets. Jalen Daniels, that's quick hitter number 1, takes us to Washington, D.C., where Daniels came up clutch for the Washington Commanders against the Philadelphia Eagles. The rookie quarterback snatched victory from the jaws of defeat late in the game with a 9-yard touchdown pass to Jamison Crowder. The Commanders won 36-33 despite turning the ball over 5 times. Jalen Daniels was the best player in football this weekend. He was absolutely sensational. But he got helped by Jalen Hurts catching a concussion, because the Philadelphia Eagles were initially up 21-7 before they got outscored 29-12 the rest of the way. I think if Jalen Hurts is in the lineup instead of Kenny Pickett, they move the ball better. They make things happen. And as a result, Jalen Daniels and the Washington Commanders wouldn't have been in a position to win this game. But give them credit where credit is due. Daniels is that dude. He can ball. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles would have been better if Jalen Hurts hadn't gotten hurt, and I don't think the Commanders would have won that game. We'll stay in the Beltway for a quick hitter number 2.
Commanders might be moving back into Washington, D.C.
Oh.
The Commanders also, they destroyed the rival of our show, the city of Philadelphia. They ripped their hearts out because Jaden Daniels went for five touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Commanders had 5 turnovers. Coming to the day, the Commanders didn't have a single win against a team with a winning record. We were kind of on fraud watch. Today, they beat this Eagles team that we were calling a juggernaut. They were Dominique's Super Bowl favorite until we started to feud with the entire city of Philadelphia. Did that team not have Jalen Hurts? No, they did not have Jalen Hurts. But did today's win change how you view the Commanders?
So I have no issue with the Eagles. It's the city of Philadelphia.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
our rival's the city. We like the Eagles.
Yeah, it's the city of Philadelphia. Whole nother story. So they went straight to the top. A team that hasn't beaten any good teams. They went right for the team that we all considered the best in football. The fact that Jalen Hurts was not in the game does matter a great deal, because Kenny Pickett, despite the fact that Kenny Pickett does the thing that we've been telling Jalen Hurts to do all season, is like, throw it to your best player. It's A.J. Brown. And Kenny Pickett's like, you know what? There's a really big, strong guy over there. I'm going to throw it to him, who's also pretty fast, and that works out. That's effective offense. That was their best plays. Deep balls, short passes, it didn't matter. But to be honest, they had a chance to put this game away. The Eagles did, if Devonta Smith would have caught a ball that he normally catches.
Yes, absolutely. Why are we doing this thing where, like, because there's this winning record line, suddenly we have all this faith in the Commanders? This was a extremely sloppy game against a backup quarterback for 3.5 quarters. And you're, just because the record is the record, you're treating it like it's some grand
results matter, Bill.
gesture. Results matter. This meant absolutely nothing in terms of how I feel about the Washington Commanders.
It meant something to Charlie. Damn it.
It was a great moment that changes nothing about their performance moving forward. They turned the ball over 5 times in this game, Charlie?
Oh yeah, 5
times.
They're one of
3
2
fumbles,
teams.
3 fumbles and 2 interceptions. Yeah, the other team that did win while having 5 turnovers, the second best team in the NFC behind the Commanders, is the Lions. So yeah, you're a good team if you can win while having 5 turnovers. What I will say, so I agree with you generally that I don't really change my opinion on the Eagles or Washington. I will say, though, there's something to be said for Washington being able to close out some of these late game situations. And this might just be like a local person's experience, where this team is the team that does not compete in these games. They're always on the wrong side of these games, and it does feel different having Jaden Daniels, who seems comfortable in just about every situation. So this, I understand, it's a lot of touchy-feely stuff that's going to piss you off, but it's all true.
Bill, I have a stat for you.
Stat him down.
With under 10 seconds left and Jaden Daniels having the ball, his EPA per play is 1 million. $1 million.
Yeah, now you respect it.
I'm just imagining getting into the huddle. It's 3rd down. We got to go with the stop to win the game. Bobby Wagner, Hall of Fame linebacker, sitting there like, guys, this is going to be our strategy. We're going to leave Devonta Smith wide open. We're not going to cover him with anybody. That's going to be our philosophy. That's how you close out games. Leave the second best player on the other team wide open for him to drop a pass.
Saquon Barkley.
What are we talking about here?
I mean, if they studied the tape. You know, they lost to the Falcons early in the year because of drop pass. They know what they're doing. They study the tape. Set it up for a Pro Bowl level All-Pro player to get wide open, and he's going to drop it.
I got a very important question for you guys. Very important question, because we've talked a lot about Jalen Hurts didn't play, and obviously Kenny Pickett was there, and yeah, they were up 14-0, and they looked like the Eagles were going to run away with it when Jalen Hurts in the game. We've also talked about how this Eagles defense they're vaunted now. Yeah. So I have a question for you, because the Commanders lit up that defense. Does Jalen Hurts play defense for that team?
Yeah, that wasn't the problem.
Because that's the defense that Jaden Daniels eviscerated.
It's crazy he did that when second half Cliff is a disaster and everyone knows his plays. I mean, it's even more impressive.
Don't you do this. Don't try to change the ground on which we are discussing this to try to make it so the point that you made is all of a sudden valid. We could say second half Cliff is great. I mean, we're not talking about second half Cliff right now. We're talking about the vaunted defense that obviously was not very vaunted against a team that's been struggling offensively second half of the year. I'll say one thing that I found really interesting in watching Jayden Daniels that I think is going to be like telling about the future of young quarterbacks is he has a combination of skills that I think are really important, and going forward, it might be something that we would look for more often. It's the athleticism. I think we all understand that's a really important skill, but the other one is the deep ball accuracy that he has. The combination of those things, I think, has been the real difference in how he could have been a kind of rough situation rookie quarterback to being a really good, probably rookie of the year level quarterback right now.
I mean, I love this point because it's like you've talked a lot about how analytics in football can't homogenize the game in the way that it can in other sports because there's too many variables. But there are things that you can look for that boost your chance of having success. And a quarterback that can get 5 or 6 yards running the ball when there's a broken play, and a quarterback that's accurate downfield and can create explosives. That's like within the realm of analytics that teams should be looking for, that type of player.
What does that have to do with analytics? Like,
no, I think
analytics also thinks that you can get any guy who can run the ball is good.
I'll defend my man, Charlie. Don't give in so easily, Charlie. I don't think that it has anything to do with analytics necessarily. But the point is, in basketball, in baseball, like there are certain types of players that you go for. And I think Charlie's point is in football, because of all the variables, there's normally not a certain type of player, but this is a situation where we're like, this is essentially threes and layups. It's like, if I got a guy that can get me a layup or hit a three, which is the deep pass, then that changes. That's like one thing that is kind of universally beneficial no matter your system or your offense.
Thank you for proving me right in the face of Bill. And now let's go back to insulting the Eagles defense as we can, because it's not like they went, this was the 2023 49ers where they were distributing the ball to superstars. Jayden Daniels was throwing touchdown passes to Alamadis, Zacchaeus, and Jamison Crowder, who got cut by the Jets. That's who was eviscerating this vaunted defense. This defense that was changing the NFC playoff race. Like, we wrote off teams like the Lions because, they have so many injuries. How are they going to compete with this? Lions would put up like 60 on a defense if they played like that today.
Didn't they force 5 turnovers in this game? Like,
pretty leaky, though.
Yeah, but it could be leaky. If you force 5 turnovers, it should still be enough for you to win the football game. Like, I think overall that's a trade you'll take most weeks.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I get you. However, your argument is that they forced 5 turnovers, but that still wasn't enough to win the game. And I guess you would say that's because they lost their starting quarterback, but they still had all these other great players. It's not as if Saquon Barkley went away. He had over 100 yards in the first half. Like this team,
I would like to point out, they actually might have given up 60 in this game if it wasn't for the turnovers.
I hate that I'm in a position now where I'm arguing that the team that I think is the best in football isn't that good, but I don't appreciate you pretending as if this was like a complete irrelevant fluke. Like, it's a thing that happened. And yes, there are people or there are teams who give up games to teams that are better than them. But at this time in the season, it's concerning when you see guys running free. You see them getting defensive penalties, too many men on the field. You see sloppiness that you haven't seen from the Eagles in their, 9-game winning streak up until this point?
Yeah, I mean, it was overall, outside of the turnovers, a really good performance from the Commanders' offense and a really bad performance by the Eagles' defense. But look, the turnovers still happened. And
yeah, you're right. The Eagles are still the best team in football.
It was sloppy on the other side of there were plays that were there to be made that didn't work out for the Eagles on offense, where this is a blowaway game if they were a little luckier. Marshawn Lattimore, who was not great in this game, committed 3 pass interference penalties and then left injured. Saquon had a catch that was ripped out of his hands on the floor by Bobby Wagner, or if he just touches him, it's a completion, but because he only touched the football, it became an incompletion. And then the Smith play. Like put it this way, if Devontae Smith catches a wide open pass Do you feel any differently about the Eagles than you did heading into this week? If you do, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But I just want to know.
Oh, to be clear, I don't feel any different about the Eagles regardless.
No, they're still the best team in football. But I just don't appreciate you saying that the game itself was completely irrelevant. I still don't. As long as Jalen comes back at some point with a healthy brain, this team is still the best team in football. But the Commanders are. I think what was most offensive to us in Washington is that you're acting like this game meant nothing. Maybe it means nothing in the grand scheme of the Eagles' projection, but it means something. It means a lot to us here in DC.
And also the other thing is like, if we're gonna get into coulda, woulda, shouldas, like it's like Kenny Pickett converted multiple 4th down and 4th and longs to get
Kenny
there. It's
Pickett
like
being Kenny Pickett, baby.
yeah, okay, exactly. If we're talking about luck, that's luck that could have given the Commanders the ball back before the Devontae Smith play. And anyway,
they gave Kenny Pickett that slide unnecessary roughness penalty, which if there's anybody in the league who does not deserve to be protected right there, it's the man who does the fake slide.
They pulled it off.
Yeah, but I didn't like them throwing it in the first place. He barely grazed the shoulder pad.
We're not concerned about the Eagles. Do we feel any better about the Commanders? Do we feel like this is a
before we get off the not concerned about Eagles, I would say generally we're not very concerned about the Eagles. I will say that in the course of a game, one of the things that I thought was the Eagles' advantage was their flexibility and their ability to alter their game plan offensively and defensively through the course of a game. I didn't see a whole bunch of that today, but they've done it in other games of the season. So I would say that having the quarterback out nullifies that conversation on the offensive side of the ball. Anybody lose their quarterback, their Super Bowl chances are, well, anyone except for the Eagles with Nick Foles.
Eagles?
Yeah, the Eagles with Nick Foles. But other than that, your Super Bowl chances are out the window. But for their defense to be as talented and flexible as they are, to still not be able to stand up at the end of that game was surprising to me.
Yes, I would point out, first half of this game, what the Eagles have done well for the last 9 weeks is win at the line of scrimmage with their offensive line and their defensive line. In the first half of this game, they were beating the hell out of the Commanders up front. Second half of the game, they had like 20 carries for 40 yards on the ground when they could have closed out the game that way. They did not get consistent pressure on Jalen. They got some pressure, but it wasn't like they blew away the Commanders' offensive line. Remember, the first time these two teams played, fourth quarter of the game, Saquon took over, and he did not do that in this game because they were not winning up front. And that, to me, is maybe the best thing for the Commanders is they did not get blown away and blown up on the line of scrimmage. Their line should not be as good as the Eagles on paper, and yet they still managed to pull that off.
And I mean, we talked about the Eagles secondary too, and Terry McLaurin roasted Quinyon Mitchell in one-on-one coverage. There were things that happened that we didn't expect from this Eagles team. Even, and you can obviously write it off in the fact that they didn't have the quarterback. They were rolling when they had him, but still, those are things that we hadn't seen in past weeks when we were talking about both sides of the ball being so dominant.
I mean, there's a chance that they see each other again in the first round of playoffs, and it'd be, I don't know.
In Philadelphia, though.
Yeah, in Philadelphia. I think it'd be pretty tough for the Commandos to pull it off.
Right after Saquon's run 45 times in Week 18 to set the single-season rushing record, too. So,
where do you stand on that? By the way, the tone of your voice suggests that you want them to ignore this single-season rushing record.
Hell no. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
I absolutely want them to set the single-season rushing record against the Giants in Week 18 in our beloved city of Philadelphia. Are you kidding me? I absolutely want to see that happen.
That's my question. So he needs 268 yards to break the record. Do you kind of think he should go for it and try and go for like 280 yards next week so he breaks it in 16 games?
Didn't they? I mean, that was the Giants game where they pulled him, right? When earlier in the year when he was putting up crazy numbers and he decided to let the young guys eat. Mistake. You could have got 100 extra yards just to close out of that game.
No, I hate the 16 game argument because it shows like how young people are in making this conversation. Why is the 16 game record the appropriate record? Like, why shouldn't the 14 game OJ record be the record? When Eric Dickerson set the record in the 80s, after the play, he said, no, OJ Simpson is still the best running back of all time, that he's still the best. I just had extra games to do it in. I think it was his 15th game he set the record in. So, like, why are we using that as like the barrier of, oh, that's what the record should be, and doing it in 17 games is against the rules? That's just
Eagles Nest News. Eagles quarterback situation as they face Cowboy Shello.
For all
Eagles
things
fans.
Philadelphia Eagles.
And welcome back to Eagles Nest News. It's crunch time for the Philadelphia Eagles as they prepare for their crucial matchup this Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. The NFC East title is on the line, but the big question lingering over the team is who will be under center for the Eagles. As many of you know, Jalen Hurts left the field during the Eagles' heartbreaking 36-33 loss to the Washington Commanders last Sunday due to a head injury. Can the Eagles overcome this quarterback uncertainty and still claim the NFC East title? Do you believe in Hurts' quick recovery, or will Pickett or McKee step up to the challenge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Eagles Nest News for more updates on everything Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly! Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. So, as it stands, the Eagles have two quarterbacks dealing with injuries, leaving fans in suspense about the team's QB situation heading into this important game. Hurts' leadership and the road to head coach Sirianni spoke highly of Hurts, emphasizing the quarterback's professionalism and leadership qualities. Jalen knows how to prepare. He's a true professional, Sirianni said. I can't say enough good things about Jalen, the player, the leader, and the person. Hurts, who has led the Eagles to a 12-3 record this season, only completed 1 of 4 passes for 11 yards before exiting the game against Washington. But his leadership on and off the field has been pivotal to the Eagles' success this season. As for Pickett, Sirianni acknowledged that, despite the loss, the backup quarterback did well in tough circumstances. Kenny did some really good things out there, Sirianni said. We definitely miss Jalen. He's been a huge part of our success this season, but Kenny stepped up, played good football, and gave us a chance to win the game. And let's not forget Tanner McKee, the Eagles' third-string quarterback, who has yet to see action in a game. The 2023 sixth-round pick from Stanford could potentially be called upon if neither Hurts nor Pickett are able to go on Sunday. But whether McKee is ready for such a big stage remains to be seen. Eagles' outlook and hope for the future. While the quarterback situation is far from ideal, the Philadelphia Eagles have a strong team with a lot of depth and talent. Regardless of who plays quarterback, the Eagles' offense is built around a powerful running game and a solid defense. The leadership of veterans and the depth at key positions give the team the ability to adapt in the face of adversity. We all know the Eagles have been resilient this season, and they'll continue to fight hard for that NFC East crown. At the end of the day, the Eagles have what it takes to weather this storm. Whether it's Hurts or Pickett or someone else, the team will rally around their quarterback and play with everything they've got. This game against the Cowboys will be a true test of their resilience, and I believe the Eagles will rise to the occasion. So, Eagles fans, what do you think? Can the Eagles overcome this quarterback uncertainty and still claim the NFC East title? Do you believe in Hurts' quick recovery, or will Pickett or McKee step up to the challenge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Eagles Nest News for more updates on everything Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly! Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.